Mauricio Umansky has refiled an antitrust lawsuit he initiated in 2020 against the National Association of Realtors, NAR's trade body in federal court. After the original case, which was paused in 2024, was released at 12 a.m. on Tuesday, the 55-year-old realtor and Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member refiled the lawsuit, which pertained to his now-defunct platform, the Pocket Listing Service, at 12:30 a.m. As reported by the briefing on Bravo, via Bravo, Mauricio's battle against NAR's trade body began after they blocked the Pocket Listing Service from operating. In his first filing, Mauricio accused the organization of enforcing anti-competitive policies on real estate listings and said its rules were damaging to his database of off-market listings. As noted, the policies required listings to be shared on NAR's many services within one business day of being marketed to the public, which makes private listings virtually impossible. This lawsuit is about defending innovation and consumer choice in a market long dominated by entrenched gatekeepers, a spokesperson for the Pocket Listing Service told Briefing on Bravo. We created a platform that responded to growing demand for privacy, flexibility, and discretion, particularly in highly competitive and high-profile markets, and were met with coordinated resistance from an organization with a vested interest in preserving the status quo. Mauricio offered a statement as well during an event in June. There should be flavors for everybody, and everybody should have the choice as to what they want to pick, he stated. Restricting what we can and cannot do stops creativity, and it stops innovation. Meanwhile, in response to the lawsuit, the NAR's trade body told The Independent that the Pocket Listing had ceased communications with them after previous discussions. NAR will respond directly to the plaintiff's claims in court, its statement said. The Clear Cooperation policy promotes transparency and competition in the real estate marketplace, while still providing home sellers and their agents the option to list their property as an office exclusive. Additionally, it was shared that the NAR had gotten rid of some of its rules, making way for certain listings to be kept off-market for more than 24 hours. According to Mauricio's lawsuit, he believes his database was a much-needed solution for clients, especially celebrities and high-profile persons who didn't want to list on a public platform. NAR and its affiliated multiple listing services colluded to eliminate competition from PLS through the adoption and enforcement of the Clear Cooperation policy, his case, via Housing Wired, explained. Mauricio's revived case comes on the heels of another antitrust suit in which the organization targeted was forced to pay out $418 million. The Pocket War. It was a Tuesday night in Beverly Hills, and the city was quiet, at least by its own standards. But in a sleek glass penthouse above Sunset Boulevard, Mauricio Umansky wasn't asleep. His phone lit up at 12:00 a.m. sharp with the court notification. The lawsuit, refiled, renamed, reawakened, had gone live. By 12:30 a.m., it had been submitted. The war was on again. He stared out the window at the city that had made him rich, famous, and, depending on who you asked, a little infamous. But tonight, he wasn't just Mauricio Umansky, the reality TV heartthrob, or the founder of the agency. He was a disruptor once again, this time on a mission to shatter one of the most powerful institutions in American real estate. Across the room, his phone buzzed again. A text from his lawyer. "They'll come hard. You ready for that?" Mauricio smirked. He typed back quickly. "They already did. Now it's my turn." The rise of PLS. 3 years earlier, the Pocket Listing Service, affectionately called PLS, wasn't just a side project. It was a revolution. Designed to help high-profile clients sell their homes privately, PLS was a sleek, members-only platform. It was Uber for real estate, Tinder for property. While the Multiple Listing Service, MLS, forced homes to be publicly listed, PLS promised discretion, flexibility, and above all, privacy. Celebrities, billionaires, and even politicians flocked to the app. It became an open secret in high-end real estate. But then came the Clear Cooperation Policy. Issued by the National Association of Realtors, NAR, the policy mandated that once a property was marketed publicly, it had to be submitted to the MLS within 1 business day. In effect, PLS was rendered obsolete overnight. Listings that lived in the shadows were now forced into the light. What they did wasn't policy, it was sabotage, Mauricio said at a panel event that June. They killed competition with a pen stroke. The crowd, mostly agents, clapped politely. One woman in a red blazer whispered to another, "He's making noise again." The House always wins. The first lawsuit in 2020 was a cannonball through the glass walls of the real estate industry. But it fizzled. Delays, backdoor negotiations, and an eerily timed pandemic sucked the oxygen out of the case. Then, in 2024, the suit was paused indefinitely. Mauricio went quiet for a while. The media speculated. Some said he was retreating. Others said he was focusing on family or filming. But those close to him knew something else. He was waiting. Waiting for the right time, for the right crack in the dam. That crack came in 2025. Another antitrust suit against NAR had succeeded. $418 million paid out, a mountain of evidence uncovered, and a public image left bruised. "This is it," his lawyer had said. "We strike now." Beverly Hills, Battlefront, Mauricio's world wasn't all courtrooms and contracts. On The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, he was still the affable husband, the handsome entrepreneur with $1 million smile. But Bravo fans had started to notice his eyes looked different. A little sharper, a little more tired. During one dinner scene, Kyle, his estranged wife, leaned over and whispered into her wine glass, "You still chasing ghosts?" Mauricio didn't answer. What Kyle didn't know was that PLS had never been about money. It had been about power. For decades, the real estate world had been dominated by gatekeepers. MLS listings were the holy grail, and NAR held the keys. He had tried to break the system, and the system had broken him. Now he was coming for it again. The ghost listings. The refiling of the lawsuit dropped like a bomb across the industry. UMANSFAY, ACVS NAR again, screamed a headline on Housing Wired. PLS back from the dead, posted another, under a black and white photo of Mauricio in aviators, stepping out of his Rolls-Royce. NAR, meanwhile, scrambled to issue a statement. The Clear Cooperation Policy promotes transparency and competition. But their tone had changed. Quietly, they'd already begun revising rules, allowing some listings to remain off-market for more than 24 hours, a crack in the armor. That crack was Mauricio's entry point. In the new filing, he was not just accusing NAR of overreach. He was accusing them of collusion. NAR and its affiliated multiple listing services colluded to eliminate competition. The case cited confidential emails, whistleblower testimony, internal Slack messages where senior NAR officials referred to PLS as a virus. Mauricio now had what he didn't have in 2020, proof. War rooms and wine glasses. By July, the case became more than just a lawsuit, it was a cultural flashpoint. Podcasts debated whether the MLS system was fair. TikToks broke down the lawsuit for Gen Z agents. Bravo fans, meanwhile, took sides. #Team Mauricio trended briefly on Twitter. At a BravoCon event in Las Vegas, a fan in leopard print asked Mauricio during a Q&A, "Are you the Aaron Brockovich of real estate?" He laughed. "Let's just say I don't like bullies." That night, after the applause and cocktails faded, Mauricio met his lawyer in a quiet suite at the Wynn. They ordered steak, red wine, and silence. The lawyer leaned in. "You know this could take years." Mauricio nodded. So could change. The countermove. NAR wasn't going to roll over. They began compiling a dossier, public statements, past business deals, old clips from RHOBH they thought might paint him as unstable or unserious. Leaks trickled to gossip blogs. Mauricio's legal crusade, a PR stunt? Former staffer questions Pilas's security measures, but Mauricio anticipated it. He wasn't just building a legal team. He was building a narrative. He did interviews, op-eds. He went on CNBC, not Watch What Happens Live. "This isn't about me," he said in one segment. "It's about the future of the industry, about the freedom for innovation." And slowly, it began to work. A small but growing faction of agents, especially younger ones, began to rally. They called themselves the New Listings. The trial of transparency. As the court date neared, tension escalated. NAR offered a private settlement, a large one. Mauricio said no. They offered again, larger. He said no again. Kyle called him that night. She was no longer filming RHOBH, but they still spoke, cautiously. "You sure you're doing this for the right reasons?" He paused. "I'm doing it so that the next guy who builds something new doesn't get crushed for it." There was silence on the line. Then Kyle said, softly, "You always did like being the rebel." Verdicts and visions. The trial began in a packed courtroom, air-conditioned to a chill. Testimonies, emails, experts. But in the end, it came down to one thing: choice. Mauricio's closing words echoed in the courtroom like a TV talk. Real estate doesn't belong to one group. It belongs to everyone. Sellers deserve options. Agents deserve tools. And innovation deserves oxygen. Let the future breathe. The verdict? Still pending. But in the court of public opinion, the tide had shifted.